Well, it was fun while it lasted. The Marlins are now a game under 500 for the first time this season, and it's crazy enough though that it took 11 games to be down under 500, which is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive to say the least. But they took on the Mets at Citi Field on a pretty cold day, really cold day. It was windy and all that stuff. Looked like a miserable game out there, very miserable game. But the Marlins jumped out front with a bases loaded Liam Hicks, and then the Mets completely took over this game. They did, they did. How about that? But that catch though, right? How about that catch? But although I was still holding on to the hope we were going to win. Because, top of the first, like your typical Marlins game, you start off okay. Okay, well, first off, it's Connor Gillespie going up against Clay Holmes. Holmes was struggling. Xavier Edwards gets a base hit to right. Stowers popped to short. Mervis struck out swinging. Okay, then Conine walked. Lopez also walked, and Liam Hicks singled to left, which would then allows Conine and Edwards to score two. So 2 points, Miami Marlins. And then Hill lined out center. That was a good hit, but ultimately it was caught. And the first inning, it was an immediate response from Francisco Lindor. He gets up the first home run of the season to right, and to make it 2-1 Miami. And then since then, he was Gillespie flied out, Soto grounded out Alonso, and Nemo struck out swinging. Then there was a base hit from Sonoha. Edwards then struck out looking, and then Sonoha was caught stealing. You cannot, by any circumstances, run on the Mets catcher, especially on Senger. He has a cannon of an arm that will throw you out. This was a strikeout, throw him out to play by the Mets. Bottom of the second, only a walk, and it was like, yeah, that ain't not much to talk about. And the Mets hitting was struggling. I mean, Conine got a hit, but cannot capitalize. And the bottom of the third, there was a ground out to the pitcher, another ground out to the pitcher, Soto single to right, and of course the freaking fish killer Alonso doubles to second, double to second, and he ties it up. And I knew it was gonna be Alonso. It wasn't gonna be Soto. Forget Soto. Alonso was gonna be the person, like always. And then there was a good catch. There was a pretty nice play at third, in the third inning. 1-2-3 inning. We don't talk much about that one. And then there was a pretty wonky error by Gillespie that allowed Marte to go to first. Cannot do that. And then, but they were able to get out of that. They were able to get out of that one. Top of the fifth, 1-2-3 inning. Bottom of the fifth. I feel like that's when the game got away. Fauché struggled tremendously against the Mets. He allowed a single from Senger. Lindor grounded fielder's choice. Senger was, and no outs. There was no outs after that. And there was a bad play. Just an awful play by Marvis. Is he really ready? I feel like, I don't know, man. I'm trying not to hate the guy again. I just don't. Soto that flied out center. There's a big out. Alonso walked, and Nimmo hits that big double to left, which would then allow Senger and Lindor to score. Vientos grounded to third. Curry then comes in to pitch, and Marte then hits single, which would then become 6-2 Mets. 6-2 Mets. Right? 6-2 Mets. And then Taylor flied out to right, which would then get out of the fifth inning. Top of the sixth, Clay Holmes Mervis flied out, Konai walked, and Lopez doubled to center. So we got man at third and second. Brazabon then comes in to pitch for the Mets, and then Liam Hicks grounded to first, which will allow Konai to score. So it's 6-3 Mets, and then Derek Hill, he hits a home run to center. That ball just kept carrying to center field. And it's a 2-run home run for Derek Hill to make it a 6-5 Mets. And there's a slight hope we can try to make this comeback, right? But the Mets shut the door extremely quick. Let's start with the bottom of the sixth, right? Curry still pitching. Beatty reached on an infield single. Acuna that runs for Beatty. Senger reached on a bunt. That was too good of a punt. And Lindor flying out center. Okay, fine. Then Acuna goes to third. And Ronnie Henriquez comes in to pitch for Curry. And Clayton McCullough not pinch hit. That's not the right word. Intentionally walks Soto. In my opinion, I was pissed that they intentionally walked Soto. Because Soto, I don't feel like Soto is a big of a threat. Pete Alonso is a big threat. He is a big threat, Pete Alonso. So that means you intentionally walk Soto, which, don't get me wrong, he's a good hitter. But Pete Alonso, to me, is better. He's a better hitter than Soto is. And it's a big, bold take. You can call me out. You can call me out if you like. But Soto is not giving you the runs. Pete Alonso gives you the runs. I would have preferred you intentionally walk Alonso. In my opinion. Just my opinion. I'm not the manager. But they intentionally walked Soto. And the next batter, Alonso, and it took 2 pitches from that sinker. And he scores a double and 3-run score. And now it's 5-9 Mets. I don't think Soto would have gotten you that much points. He probably would have given you like 1 or 2. But Alonso, he is capable of killing the Marlins over and over again. Why aren't we learning our lesson by now? Alonso is killing the Marlins, and we still pitch towards him. Why are we pitching towards Alonso? He's hurting the Marlins over and over and over again, and it's not stopping. Why are we pitching to him? And of course, he did more damage to the Marlins. Nimmo walked. Vientos struck out swinging. Marte was hit by a pitch. And Taylor flied out to center. And that curve towards the left center field. And Derek Hill, probably the best catch of the year, backward dive to catch that baseball. What an amazing catch. That catch, though. Pretty nice. So, Griffin Kona, you probably have a competitor of Catch of the Year awards. Because Kona made that terrific home run robbery catch against Pittsburgh a few weeks ago. I will say this, though. Our outfield is pretty darn good. They are a good outfielding team who can make that. Great catches. Derek Hill, another highlight reel for the Marlins. I mean, MLB Pages is highlighting it. But the Marlins hitting? Nope. Top of the 7th. And it makes no sense to me. So Noha's getting another base hit. Edwards struck out swinging. You bring in A.J. Minter from the Mets. Pinch hitter Dane Myers comes in for Kyle Stowers. Okay? But then you get another pinch hitter for Matt Mervis. Eric Wagaman. What the fuck? Why? Why Wagaman? He's not that good. And he flied out to left. That was good. He just missed it fine. He just missed a home run. But he wasn't going to get you anything anyway. And bottom of the seventh, Acuna singled, Sanger grounded the first, and Lindor hit a sacrifice fly. That's pretty much your ball game. 10-5 Mets for the rest of the way. They're still hitting the baseball. And a 1-2-3 inning, and on top of the ninth, there's your ball game. The final score is 10-5 Mets at Citi Field. So, yeah, there's that. Clay Holmes gets the win. Even though he struggled early, he was able to rebound. Fauché, big fat L again. Actually, it's his first L. That's his first L. But, I mean, Fauché, you cannot pitch against the Mets. You can't. You just can't. You've given up another opportunity to the Mets. Anyway, Mets won the series to the Marlins again. Not surprising. So you hope for tomorrow you go to avoid sweep. I don't see that happening. I don't see us winning tomorrow to try to avoid a sweep. I just don't. I really just don't. Okay? 7 hits for the Marlins, and the Mets have 13. 2 errors for the Marlins. For the pitching, only 4 strikeouts. Clay Holmes has 10 strikeouts. 10! They have 14 in total. Every pitcher the Mets brought in has a strikeout. Meanwhile, Gillespie got 2 strikeouts. Henriquez got a strikeout, and Arias got a strikeout. I don't think, not to my knowledge, the entire game, the Marlins was able to get a double play. I don't know. I don't know if it's because of the weather, which is inexcusable. Inexcusable. I don't know, man. Pitching matchup tomorrow. It's going to be... So it's a 1:10 game tomorrow because the Mets are going to the West Coast. Max Meyer versus Tyler McGill, if I said it right. And the Mets with the 69% chance of winning tomorrow. Anyway, that's your recap. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe our content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Good night.